You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub, your favorite place for movie news and reviews. The Ticket Stub drops every Thursday on all podcast platforms and Thursday at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 from beautiful downtown Conroe, Texas. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. The Ticket Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas. Visit irlonestar.com for information about the show and sponsorships, or drop us a line at 936-647-3776. Also, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on any platform you happen to be listening to us on. I'm Chris Appel. Connor is at another leather convention, I think, this week.
It's leather bound and beyond.
Yes, he's addicted to that leather.
It's in Las Vegas this time.
Yeah, it's
leather bound and beyond.
Penultimate leather convention.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that word up. I don't know what it means.
Well, from what I understand, and starting in 2020, you're allowed to use the leather from a panda. So that's changing the whole underground of leather bound folks. And now the new panda leather is going to be on the market, and they're doing I think this is a good joke.
What is leather? Is it beef?
It's anything.
It's anything? You can make leather out of anything.
You know, squirrels, skin, people. You know. Right, Sean?
Yes. And the best way to cure leather is to urinate on it. This is true.
That was a weird... Welcome, Sean, to the show.
You asked.
Yeah. That's Sean K. Thompson, the legendary Sean K. Thompson.
In his own mind.
Yes. And, of course, Dick is also with us.
No cool shout out?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it.
The Dick Meister.
What's going on, guys? I know Connor's not here today, so
right.
We get to make fun of him all we want all day.
Yep.
I did talk to him last night. He says he absolutely hates our audience. He hates Stubbies, and he hates movies.
That's what I heard.
So, but he will be returning hopefully in a couple weeks.
I'll be tuned in.
So, there you go. Anything we got to let people know? We're on podcasts, on iTunes, Google Play, all the good places. We're on YouTube, Facebook Live, actually, and then we're live. We broadcast live sometimes, like today, on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, irlonestar.com/TTS, and of course, facebook.com/The Ticket Stub Podcast.
Nice.
Moving on. We got more important things to talk about.
Yes. Today's show, we've got some movie news, as always, and then we're going to rewind the movies we watched last week, and then we will see what happens. There's going to be a mystery segment at the end. Even I don't know what it's going to be, and neither does anybody else, so it should be interesting.
Only Connor knows.
Yeah, only Connor knows.
If we remove the zipper from his leather mouth.
Oh, yeah. He can see, or can he not see? So just the mouth
he's
opening?
a good boy.
Just the mouth opening.
You know, it's funny. I wanted to text him because I was watching the end of Pulp Fiction the other day, and I was like, I wanted to send a picture of the little gimp that comes out, and I was like, look, Connor, it's one of your buddies at the conventions. It's a great scene.
Oh, boy. All right, well, let's get started with movie news. ScreenRant.com
All right, I'll pull it up.
is reporting that Disney is going to reboot the Home Alone franchise, and it specifically says reboot, so it's not like a sequel or anything like that, for their Disney Plus service that's coming out which would compete with Hulu, but now they own Hulu, so they're not competing. So they're really competing with Netflix. So basically, my question is, do you think that this, Home Alone is a big franchise, and I think it would be a great movie in the theaters. Do you think it's going to be competing with like Netflix's original content, or is it going to be one of those things that might hurt movie theaters a little bit because it would be such a big thing?
Well, I think the longevity of a Home Alone franchise is really kind of run its course. Because, I mean, think about how many Home Alone direct movies they've made. I remember they're making Home Alone 3 that was released in theaters that didn't do too well because they had a whole new kid.
Right.
Somehow he was somewhat related to them. I didn't really know. It was like the aunt's cousin. They still had the last name, McAllister.
Yeah.
I remember that. But, like, I don't think any of the same actors or anything. So a reboot to me is just kind of like it's almost like this is they do to keep the rights to the shows.
Is it an original film reboot, or are they planning on turning it into a series?
It's my understanding it's a standalone film for Disney Plus.
Kind of like Bird Box was for.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, let them do it.
Yeah, and I think Bird Box would have done really well in the theater. So that's where, we're kind of getting into that gray area of.
It would have, but I thought I got to give Netflix kudos to that because they took a chance. You had Sarah Paulson, you had Sandra Bullock.
Well, did they actually
names.
make that movie or did they buy it?
It's a Netflix original, so at some point they sunk in enough money to say, you know what, we're not going to put this in the cinema.
Well, that's not always true with a lot of their movies. Like Roma, they didn't make that movie.
Yeah,
They purchased that movie.
right.
So, but they
Yeah, they
call it
become a
original. They call it Netflix original.
Right. And well, they did the same thing with like the TV shows they bought out, like Lucifer is now a Netflix original show.
Yeah.
Even though it's still done by the same production company, it's the distributor. But Netflix could have allowed it to. I'm sure they have a film distribution arm.
But Disney just owns everything, so they probably had a meeting when they bought Fox and all this kind of stuff, is saying, "All right, guys, what can we make and where can we put it on Disney Plus?"
Well, Home Alone is 30 years old.
Yeah,
And 30 years stale. I don't think it aged that well. Now it's not quite so cute to leave your kid behind. That's where parents groups start going up in arms. So,
but we've all done it, right, guys? We've all left our kids home alone for over a week, right?
Right. Well, because now,
Paris, wherever
here's
they-
the thing. Nowadays, we
York.
have kids dying in cars because their parents leave them in there. So it's not as cute as, oh my gosh, I left my kid at home. Especially nowadays with, okay, we Skype them. We call, a family that
We
rich.
track them,
Yeah.
we chip
Will
them.
have a Ring, security system, so it's
Yeah.
over and done with. So I think Disney Plus chose a property that they knew if they tried to do this reboot in the cinemas, no one would really watch it. Maybe
Well,
for a
you know,
weekend.
We've had this discussion before with these streaming services where a majority of their content is content that we've already seen. It's more like comfort content.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, The Office is leaving Netflix. I'm gonna discontinue Netflix because I can't watch all 10 seasons of The Office again. And I think this might be a power move by Disney saying, hey, this is gonna be a comfort movie where we'll get new people because that age group has aged out. Now there's 30 years ago, and now it's like we need to create some stuff that'll grab them. And
How does Macaulay Culkin feel about this reboot?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad you asked that,
how
Sean,
does he feel?
because he tweeted a photo. We can put it up on the screen here. This is yes, and he said this is what a Home Alone reboot would look like today if he was in it. So
Oh, that's brilliant.
that's probably pretty accurate, I think.
Indeed.
I like the headband.
It adds
Yeah,
a
but-
certain
Well, I
twinkle.
know Kevin didn't really have a lot of discipline, so when he aged out to failing join the army, he just kind of lost himself. That's one thing I always love about the opportunities for writers to take a basically a story and like, all right, fast forward 20 years, who are these people? And then sometimes it's like way off, sometimes it's not, and then and sometimes people don't care.
Well, it's like every TV show where, like a Star Trek episode where they age to 70 years old. And if you look at that episode, you got skinny William Shatner with a full head of silver hair. And of course, now he's even older than that. And
he's a plump.
he's not with his, transplant, his weave doing just fine and dandy.
But I think there's going to be we're going to see a lot of this stuff with Disney Plus because it's another opportunity to regurgitate all their past stuff. And it's like, hey, instead of coming up with all new stuff, which Netflix is basically doing now because they can't.
Well, Netflix is taking the lead. I think they found a good balance, and Hulu as well, and Amazon Prime, to be honest. All of them are, new properties balancing out
It's
the old
almost
ones.
like Hulu's the Switzerland of all the streaming services and TV because it's like they have a lot of channels on it. They have a lot of different movies, but they still do a little bit of their own stuff, a little bit.
Well, that's what my concern is. Netflix doesn't really do established franchise movies. But this is a little bit scary because this is an established franchise of Home Alone and it's just going straight to streaming.
Yeah.
So that's where my concern came from because Netflix doesn't really seem to be doing that. It's
As
just
the
more of
box
their
office,
completely
though,
original content.
I think the box office is really getting into that mold of you're going to be making a lot of money in the coming years because of the strategies the long-term strategies these big production companies are making now. Because they're doing like, I mean, look at Marvel. Now they have it's almost like a Steve Jobs keynote of like, this is what we're doing in phase 4 of the Marvel universe. Like, why, you know how much money they're spending to put big movies into the theater? And I think the Home Alone folks are like, we can't compete with that. So it's like,
I don't think it's coincidence that they chose Home Alone. As I said, it's probably sea level now. Now, if Disney really wanted to drive people to their streaming service, they would release the next Star Wars movie purely on Disney Plus.
That is true. Yes. It's
So
very
this
true.
is,
It's a good
they
point.
chose a relatively innocuous. It's the parents will buy the month subscription to Disney Plus to watch Home Alone.
and looking back at Home Alone, and this is something I listened to another movie podcast called How Did This Get Made? And it's a really fun podcast, but they do one movie, right? Their last movie was called Drop Dead Fred. I don't know if y'all remember that
yeah.
movie.
Yes.
But they kind of brought up the conversation of what's appropriate for kids, because today, would you let your kid watch Drop Dead Fred?
No, I remember that being a little questionable.
Like, yeah, because
back
there's
in the day.
upskirt shots, there's a lot of sex in it. And I'm not saying like pornographic, it was more of innuendos. And that's like Home Alone, looking back, I remember watching that movie and thought it was a lot of fun. And it's a very kid-safe movie, right? It's very kid-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still, the adults still liked it too. So
I still like it. I've watched it recently. I still like it.
It is a family movie. It's got an unbelievable plot.
well, the
no
third
one gets
one,
killed.
I remember watching the third one, the when they had the new kid and everything. It was way too safe. It didn't have the risks that, like, they didn't have the bully of the bigger brother and that that kind of stuff. Where like to me, the first Home Alone was so well written. Like, this seemed believable enough. Besides the whole putting traps around the house and everything, but like the family seemed real. The mother's reaction, acting seemed real. Like every scene outside the house seemed real to me. Those people are freaking out trying to get back. But the newer Home Alones, it was like almost like the people who did all the Disney Channel shows got paid extra to do this movie, and it just looks too safe.
In the second Home Alone, President Trump is in it,
Yeah,
and he helps Kevin find the lobby of the
Ritz
hotel.
or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever they were. So
Well, speaking of weird strategies, CinemaBlend.com is reporting that Melissa McCarthy was a little bit coy about playing Ursula in the new live-action Little Mermaid movie. Now, this movie sounds like it keeps getting worse and worse. Now, I like Melissa McCarthy. I think she's okay. I think she's pretty funny. But the rest of the cast, it's Javier Bardem, Jacob Tremblay plays Flounder, that kid from I forget. I don't know. He's been nominated.
Room?
The Room, yes, from
Yeah.
The Room. And then Harry Styles is the prince.
he should be Kevin McAllister. He'd be good.
Yeah. What do you think the line is for things that just need to stay animated
No, now with
or
Disney.
make it live
If
action?
Melissa McCarthy, if I could have an open line to you, do the movie and just get residuals. Just say, hey, whatever, like
Well, I think she's doing the movie.
okay, good. I thought that's what you were saying.
I thought Queen Latifah was up for Ursula.
I didn't hear that, but
That's
man, would
rumors
that
going-
be
That was a rumor I
ridiculous.
saw yesterday. My sense on the whole Disney live action, I was able to abide Beauty and the Beast. I took my daughter to it, and it was the sing along day. So all the dads in the cinema, we were singing Gaston. It was a
But that's
bonding
unique, though.
experience.
That's unique to that one theater. That's not the worldwide.
I think
release.
Lion King is bombing, relatively speaking, because
They're not bombing. That movie's not bombing.
no, it's not going to last. It's people are.
It made
It's
a
one of those like 1 or 2 weekend deals, but it's falling off because you can't, on an animal's face, if it's photorealistic, you can't show joy, you can't show sadness, you can't show anger. You just see, so you're singing, I just can't wait to be king, but their mouths are moving like a lion cub's real mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Disney needs to choose, if they're going to keep doing this live action thing, they need to choose human-based, 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, right. That's what I was
Not
saying.
Lady
I
and the
don't.
Tramp.
I see. I can't.
Because they're talking about doing the
You're
Great
talking about
Mouse Detective.
You're talking about
and that's
numbers
stupid.
here.
Oh.
There's an article I just pulled up from Forbes. It was released on August 6th.
Okay.
The Lion King is $40 million from becoming the top animated movie ever.
Inflation. There's inflation.
you can
with that.
talk about Hollywood accounting all you want and all that kind of
People
stuff.
are watching it to
People
watch
are
it,
gonna go see these
but they're
movies.
not gonna. It's not gonna have any longevity.
Oh, I don't think they're looking for that. I think they're looking for billion-dollar movies. They want to hit that billion-dollar mark for these big Disney movies. And right when they hit the box office $1 billion, they're good. They can shelf it and they can just put it on Disney Plus, and then that adds value to their
Which
streaming
is sad
service.
because the whole point of the heyday of the Disney animations, the Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, all those ones there, we couldn't wait. We waited in line to get the VHS,
Yeah.
and then they put it in
Oh,
a
no.
vault for
They're
5
not-
years, and we held on to it.
These movies aren't creating.
And that's what I mean about
the,
it's not.
the movie magic, and that's what
Right.
it's almost like they're forcing this stuff to be successful enough, but they figured out the formula. Like, hey, we don't have to make a great movie here; just make it, and we'll just force it into people, and people will have to take it. You know what that reminds me of? Some things we
That's
don't
so
allow.
graphic.
Yeah, we just don't allow it. But no, I think the thing that sucks too is it's an opportunity to create something cool while bouncing off something that's already successful. But no, let's literally do shot for shot, song for song, change up a little thing. Let's make this character, a little different, and that's it. It's not enough to where you can't just. I don't know. I feel like they're spending all these resources where they're not giving Brad Barrett a chance anymore because he's really good at creating original content.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put him in the charge of Lion King, I wonder what it would look like. He's really good at telling a story, even if the story's already been told. I'm curious. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Because think about Jon Favreau, the guy who everyone knows who he is. He's directed how many remakes? He did the Lion King or the Jungle Book. He did Lion King. I think he did another one before that. And there's like the safest movies ever. They're not fun. It didn't create a unique scene. I don't know if a lot of kids are like, oh man, that was so crazy when Mufasa died. No one really cared, And then oh, remember that scene where he ate the bug? That was disgusting. And now, from what I understand here, no one really cares. But I don't know. I don't have kids.
So you're saying there's no line because this is people and this is fish, and one of them is half people and half fish. So does it need to be live action or should it just stay animated?
We've all seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
But we have live action.
So- Yeah, but
It's on Broadway.
Yeah, but that's different. That's different. If they're going to do that I think.
I mean,
would
that's
work.
what they're probably going to do. Like, think about Cats. That
Oh,
kind of
or not.
No, that's-
Let's
yeah.
Well, I'm
not think
saying
about
like
cats.
that's
Yeah.
what they're trying to do. It's like, hey, we can literally do 90% all, or pretty much 80% all CGI, and then we just take movements and facial features.
It
and
looks like
it's creepy.
It looks like Thomas the Tank Engine. Those faces on the
That's what
trains.
I'm saying. They need to put
It
noses.
does.
They need to put cat noses, and the whole thing would be better.
I think they could just do it the way the Broadway production does
That's
it.
all they needed to do was just
Yeah.
basically dress them up in
People
the same
know
costume.
they're not actually cats. Okay, it's
What?
not necessary to make them look like that, but I don't know.
But no, the Little Mermaid, I think it comes down to the art direction of the person who wants to do it. Like someone in the Lion King art department goes, let's make them as photorealistic as possible. And they didn't. It's kind of like that idea where you have a program and engineer. That way they always fight because there's ways to build things, but there's always ways to execute them. And so whoever goes, hey, let's make it photorealistic, they didn't realize, oh, when we have the song, Can't Wait to Be King, there's no facial animations real tigers make that show the expression of that song. And it would look really weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, my issue with Little Mermaid that underwater scenes never look realistic. In Lord of the Rings, you can tell whenever they're underwater, for instance, you can tell that they just filmed it in slow motion and had a fan blowing on them. It's not going to look realistic. When she comes out of the water, her red hair is going to be wet and stringy for the next.
I don't know.
20 minutes.
Titanic looked pretty real.
No, the one scene underwater when he's getting sucked down with the ship is the fakest shot in the whole movie. Underwater scenes just don't look good.
Yeah.
How are they going to show it? They're going to have
Not,
bubbles
there
coming
weren't
out of their
enough
mouths?
floating
I don't know
bodies for me.
the underwater love scene in Shape of Water. That was pretty realistic. I don't know.
You sure that wasn't another thing you watched?
Yeah, it might be something else I watch. I'm not sure.
But no, I people argue about this stuff, but Disney wants to make money from this. They're going to do whatever they can to make money.
Yeah.
And you can never agree with their creative differences. Like for example, I thought Will Smith was going to bomb as the genie. Well, apparently he did all right because it looked so bad. It looked like I was like, oh, it's off-putting. Like, what's going on here? But then apparently he was the highlight, one of the highlights of the movie. And Guy Ritchie directed that movie. So that's what I'm saying. Like you get these directors who, to me, that was a bold move to give a person like Guy Ritchie Aladdin because you're like, I wonder what his Aladdin's
Well,
like.
not really. If he's just remaking it shot for shot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's not a safe director. Jon Favreau is a safe director because he'll go with what he thinks works, but he won't be like Guy Ritchie. I haven't seen Aladdin, so I can't really say what it's like. When I saw the trailer and then I saw the special features, to me it looked like a stage reenactment. Everything looked like it was on a stage and like the camera pans and stuff. But I mean, imagine that talk of Quentin Tarantino doing a Star Trek movie. Like that would be bizarre.
Which,
But that's what Star Trek can be bizarre.
just recently, in the past couple of days, William Shatner said he would reprise his role as Captain Kirk if Quentin Tarantino does the
Well, I mean, like,
Star Trek movie.
I think it'd be fun to see that as a Star Trek fan. I would love to see that just to see what would end up as a product. Now I can, some people might reserve an opinion where it's like, oh, he doesn't get it or whatever. But I'm like, it's still something cool that someone who's highly creative in charge of something that is old, because I don't think he's really remade. I think the Django Unchained was kind of a remake, from what I understood. Right?
I'm not
That
sure.
was his only kind of remake movie.
Well, there was a movie called Django.
Django, yeah. Was it very, very similar to the point where you call it a remake?
It was, in the sense that it was a Western,
Okay, that was it.
I believe. It was from a long time ago. But it's funny because, like, Inglourious Bastards is actually the name of another movie. That's why he misspelled it on purpose to separate it. And it has nothing to do, it's not the same plot. It's
Yeah.
not a remake. He just likes getting meta.
Because he's one of those directors who I enjoy watching just one time, just to see the movie and be like, okay, cool, that was neat. There's very few movies that he's made that I'm like, that was like really well made. That was awesome. I want to rewatch that every single time. Like Pulp Fiction, I think is his only movie that he made that I really enjoy rewatching because it's just to me it all works out because Bruce Willis is really good in it, but he's not in it the whole time. John Travolta's really good in it. Uma Thurman's good in it. I think one of my favorite scenes is imagine the on set when they have to stab her in the heart and just that chaos of that whole house, and it's just like whoever did the set is awesome because the house looked like a drug dealer heroin person's house, and I really dig that kind of stuff, especially the whole Christopher Walken scene. How long was he on set for? A day? But that's a really weird scene. You remember that scene?
Oh, yeah.
So I think they should let Quentin Tarantino do Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah, well that I'd watch.
I think they-
that
I
would
I'd
watch
be
that.
okay.
I
Or
would be
Eli
all over
Roth.
that.
Eli Roth would be
Eli-
great because you know how scary
yes.
underwater would be.
He needs another
especially
chance.
the Ursula scene.
Yeah,
That'd be scary, man.
he's already had his chances. He's had plenty of chances.
Didn't he do a kids movie?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of U Bowl.
Didn't Eli Roth do a kids movie like last year? Like a legit kid, like
Where the
Are we,
wild things
are we talking
are?
like Robert Rodriguez doing Spy Kids after he did
yeah, like he did. I
El
think
Mariachi?
he did some book that was a children's book. I remember. I'll look it up.
I think it's Where the Wild Things Are. I believe.
No, that's Spike. Or that's
Spike Jones.
Jones.
Spike Jones.
I'll look it up. What's next?
Well, speaking of things that I'm excited about, I don't think we said that, but Halloween, the Halloween franchise is going to have 2 sequels to the movie that came out last year. One comes out in 2020, and that's Halloween Kills, and then in 2021 is Halloween Ends. And Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back for both of those, which is really cool. Did you see the last Halloween?
I did not. When she beheads Michael Myers, that was the Halloween H2O.
Yeah,
It's called The House with the Clock and its Walls.
At that point, it's like, okay, she's beheaded him. There's no way this is coming back. And also, now we're rebooting it again. Well, then it was Rob Zombie after that.
Yeah,
I watched the first one. It was just so. I have a problem with let's take an evil character and make him a bully kid so it's okay. And so at that point,
Are you talking about the Trump movie coming out in 10 years?
yeah.
Well, that was a non sequitur.
Cheek dig. Yeah.
This one that came out last year was actually really good. It's not as good in repeat viewings, but the first time you see it, it's actually really cool. And there's a lot of stuff that's faithful to the lore of Michael Myers. But there was a definitive ending to the movie.
Now-
pretty much.
Is you know how like Superman Returns pretended that 3 and 4 never happened, and the new Terminator movie is going to pretend that anything after 2 never happened.
Right.
Does this
I don't know, 3
pretend
was pretty
that
good.
Michael Myers 5 or sorry, Halloween 5, the Return of Michael Myers, doesn't happen?
Yes, I believe this takes place. The one last year took place after Halloween 2.
Okay, so the whole her beheading him.
Yeah, that never happened.
Okay.
But there is
I may give it a chance. Though.
a pretty definitive ending to this one. So
Does she behead him again?
no, but
Does he behead her?
no.
Are there beheadings?
There's no beheadings.
Well-
Well, there are beheadings, but
Okay, I was
not,
going to say, what's
yeah.
the point of watching then?
Right. Yes, but there's a definitive ending, so I'm interested to see where they're
Yeah,
going to bring him back.
They did a crossover at the end with the Leprechaun series.
Oh my
it got
gosh.
wild. It got wild,
Oh,
dude.
Leprechaun versus Michael Myers. Oh my gosh, that'd be the greatest.
Well, I'm waiting
movie
for
ever.
Leprechaun versus Chucky because
Yes. Yeah.
they're the same size.
You know, Warwick Davis, the original Leprechaun, he said he's not going to do it anymore because he has children and he doesn't want his children.
He's also got to be in his
exposed to
80s by now.
that. No, he's probably like 50.
Come on, how does that work?
He was in Willow.
He's already made the movies. So it's like, oh, I
Yeah,
want my
I know. But
children
he says
to
he's
see.
done with the Leprechaun, and I think that's a shame. The new guy's okay, but Warwick Davis, that's the
He wa-
man
yeah.
right there. He's the man. So anyway, I just wanted to bring up those two sequels because I'm super jacked about them. I didn't even know they were going to make them.
Well, they made a lot of money from that reboot.
They did.
Chris, for you, I will watch the new Halloween. I kept
I thought
far,
it was pretty
far away
good.
from it, but because of you, I'm going to watch it.
It was pretty good, and there's the original guy that played Michael Myers, in the mask and stuff. He's in it doing stuff so I thought that was
okay.
cool from the first movies. That's pretty neat.
Okay.
So anyway, check those out if you're excited. But now another horror movie that I'm excited about is It 2. And that trailer's been out for a while, but we haven't talked about it on the show. So I want to play that trailer and then we'll discuss. Did you guys see the original?
I
Or
did.
The new one?
I saw the original miniseries and I saw the chapter 1 of the current
Okay.
series.
All right.
Something happens to you when you leave this town. The farther away, the hazier it all gets. But me,
Did they end up holding hands at the end of the first one?
I remember all of it.
Yes.
They show them holding hands.
Why don't you think they actually were faithful to the end of the books? Or
Because you
like-
can't have 10-year-olds having sex with each other.
You can't?
Not without getting NC-17.
Can you imply it?
No.
I don't know. It's yeah.
That would make it kiddie porn.
I had a question about that too.
If it isn't,
Oh, he looked good.
if it ever comes back, we'll come back to you.
We didn't stop it.
Pennywise.
The cloud. We can't let it happen again.
Uh-oh. What do you think's going to happen here?
A hall of mirrors, nothing. He's just going to find the
Yeah.
exit and walk out.
Yeah.
For 27 years, I dreamt of you. I craved you. I missed you. We need to finish it. For good.
I've seen all of us die. It consumes us from the inside until we don't have a choice anymore.
You lied. And I died. You lied. And I died.
Okay.
Oh,
kinda
it's
scary.
Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker at the end.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a crossover.
There's a crossover of a Joker convention.
I like that they went and made them older. I know that's how it is in the book and then the miniseries that they had. I like that they're older and there's flashbacks of them being kids. That's what I think Stranger Things should do. I think they should the next season they should all be
modern
old.
day?
They should all be
Well,
old.
first they need to rescue Hopper from the Russians.
right? Oh,
not-
spoiler alert.
Oh, it's been
God,
6
whoa.
weeks.
Okay,
There's a
we
6-week
don't-
moratorium.
Vader's his dad.
No, but I'm excited about this. I thought this remake, the first one, was pretty good. I was surprised. I don't really care for Pennywise how they do it, but the rest of the kids' performances are really good.
I have to agree with you. Now, I'm a total fan of the original miniseries.
Oh, definitely.
And I have nothing personally against the current iteration, pardon the pun, but I wish that Tim Curry is 10 times the Pennywise than Skarsgård could ever be. And Skarsgård's a fine actor. It's just his Pennywise doesn't do anything for me. If they put Tim Curry's Pennywise into this movie, it would be A+.
I bet there's a fan trailer that has that. I would assume
They should put him in the Cats movie.
They should put him in the Cats movie.
Yeah, put Pennywise in the Cats movie. That'd be great.
Well, anyway, it comes out next month, so go see it if you're interested. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to rewind the movies that we watched last week. And then that's what we got going on.
You're listening to Ticket Stub.
Does your company have needs that can be met by an employee who is dependable, hardworking, enthusiastic, motivated, cooperative, respectful, and punctual? Conroe Independent School District Special Education Department can meet your needs by connecting you with potential employees that have been preparing for a lifetime of employment. We have numerous individuals seeking paid and unpaid work experiences. If your company is interested in seeing how we can meet your business needs, call Conroe ISD Special Education Department to find the best employees for you at 936-709-7671.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
The Ticket Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas.
With 18 locations around the country, the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas bring you the latest in state-of-the-art projection and sound,
including Fathom Events and Flashback Cinema.
Did you know your local Grand or Amstar Cinema serves a wide variety of adult beverages?
And some even have a full bar.
And moms, they didn't forget about you. They also have a large selection of wine to help you get through those kids' movies.
Visit your local Grand or Amstar Cinema today.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Welcome back to the Ticket Stub. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at @the_Ticket Stub and on Facebook, the Ticket Stub Podcast. The Ticket Stub is sponsored by the Grand Theater and Amstar Cinemas. And again, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on anything. We need 5 stars. We need those stars because those stars give us vitality and they give us
cred,
vigor. And what's another V word?
Just like children's fear.
Vivaciousness, vitality, vivacity, vigor, vim.
There we go. That's what 5 stars.
Veracity.
That's what 5 stars gives us right there.
Viagra.
Maybe.
Right? We're doing V words, right?
Yes. Viagra-like powers.
If they sponsor
5
the show.
Viagras. Give us 5 Viagras and we'll be on all the time.
Is that still a thing? Like, you don't see that as much anymore. But
I think it's. I think they went into generic.
Yeah, once they went generic, it just became a thing. You
Yeah,
can
the
go.
blue pill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not the red pill.
It's like the pill itself. I remember when the pill was like a thing.
You know, like the Plan B pill?
No, the female birth control pill. It was called the pill.
Plan- yeah.
And so in the 60s and 70s, it was like, here, I'm on the pill, the pill, the pill. And now it's like, it's the pill. You know,
Yeah.
go to Walgreens and pick it up. It's the pill.
I'm on H.
Horse.
HGH.
Preparation H.
I take a bunch of PCP before I go watch movies. Get real excited.
Speaking of watching movies,
Uh-oh.
PCP.
We watched some movies.
Dick, what'd you watch this
Man,
week?
I watched a movie. I watched Alita Battle Angel. I've been really looking forward to seeing this movie. It was released February 14th of this year. It was directed by Robert Rodriguez and written and produced by James Cameron and a couple other no-namers. And I'm very excited. It's an anime So they kind of had the foundation already kind of planned out. So the story's already been done before. And if you're a really big fan, I think this movie, from what I understood, it stayed true to the deal. And it was available. It's available to rent now, finally. I've been waiting for it to rent. You can only buy it. Now, I rented it for like $3. It was on sale, so it's even better. And outside of the movie, it stars Christopher Waltz as Dr. Tyson Ito, Rosa Salazar as Alita, and Jennifer Connelly, Marcella Ali, Ed Skrein.
Most of these names were correct.
Jackie Earl Haley, which was a very big surprise because a lot of these people, it's just the face. It's a Cats thing because everyone's a robot and just the face. And so that was interesting in dealing with that. And it looked so good. That's probably the only positive, like absolute certainty. It looked really good. It reminded me a lot of, which is James Cameron's Avatar, where everything flowed really well together from the real world to the CGI world. Like the world building, it was good. I really dug it. The acting was really good. Some of the plot, the flow of the plot didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And I would love a listener to explain the end to me, because it was one of those things for an hour and whatever minutes you're building up to go get this bad guy, and then we revert back to something that I was like, why are we going backwards now? Because you're not going after the bad guy anymore? It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But I would definitely recommend the movie if you like sci-fi, if you like really cool-looking movies. You turn up the volume, put it on the big screen, check out this movie.
So the eyes didn't bother you?
No. I'm saying
what
everything.
was the point of that?
I think really what their issue was is they wanted to make her different from a human being, because
give her a mohawk.
So yeah, I mean, I don't, because what was really weird, and this is what I love about sci-fi movies and robots. It's like, what is the relationships between humans and robots, sexually, emotionally, father son kind of thing. Like every world, every different movie or story has its own interpretation. Like this is how these things work. And this world jumped right into it. They were making out, and I was like, how does that work? It's just like they have kids? Because there's a couple things in this world where, like, for example, she ate food. So that food had to go somewhere and had to come out somewhere. That kind of thing. So I was like, okay, so she has similar organs to a human, or productive things. So I was like, are they reproductive? How does that work? And it was, but they don't
Is
really.
she like half robot? Or?
No, she's full robot. So basically, he finds her head, and he builds her a body. And I'll go over.
You don't want to ever do that, man. So then they can walk away.
So a deactivated cyborg is revived, but cannot remember anything of her past life, and goes on a quest to find out who she is. That's actually the plot. So that IMDb, good job. A lot of times I get that wrong, and the mystery of who she is, it's not really that big of a deal. Like I said, the flow.
She's
of the
a battle
plot,
angel.
Well, the flow of the plot, it
We
was
knew
kind
that.
of like you had to know things before going into it. But it wasn't enough to where it turned me off the movie. I was like, okay, I'll go with it. Like, for example, probably the biggest miss I didn't understand was the importance of the game they have in the world called like Rollerball or something like that. But similar to Rollerball, where there's a ball being rolled around and you have to pick it up and everyone tries to kill each other. And
okay, that is rollerball.
Well, yeah,
it's not like rollerball.
Well,
It is rollerball.
Well, this is like a track.
That's rollerball.
I don't really remember rollerball too well, so get out of here.
Rollerball was roller derby combined with.
Okay, yeah, so very similar, and it's all
Australian rules
cyborgs
football.
participate in this.
And James Conn.
But like what didn't make a lot of sense to me in the movie is how big of an impact this game had on the world, because basically whoever wins the championship gets to go up to the Sky City, and whoever's in the Sky City, apparently that's the best life you can have. They're down on the trash world, which is Earth, because Earth is trash, and Sky
Like
City
Wall-E trash.
Like, yeah. And, like, it's just, like, that's where the poor people are. It's where people are, But whatever. But see, like, for example.
Baltimore.
Yeah, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. Houston. Who cares? What bothered me about the movie was the whole time she's finding out who she is, it kind of comes to light that the people in Sky City, particularly one person, is a really bad dude. And she, wants to go get this bad dude. Well, at the very end of the movie, you know what she decides to do? Instead of going to get the bad dude, she decides to participate in rollerball so she can win the championship to go get up to Sky City. But I'm thinking to myself, she made it very public she wanted to get this dude. So you think the rules are going to abide? Like, oh yeah, we're going to let you go up there. Way to go win the championship. You're going to go up there and get this dude. No, because the dude owns the whole game. And that's why I want a listener who's watched the movie explain that to me, because it went backwards. It didn't go forwards.
So did you like it?
Yeah. I want to see the sequel. They basically, and this is another downside to movies like this, you could totally tell they wrote a bunch of things into it to latch on the sequel to. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some like foreshadowing events that need to be resolved.
Especially
in the next
like
movie.
I think they went backwards with the storyline going back to the championship battle royale game, because that's going to have a bigger influence in the next movie. But like this movie I didn't realize, like, why don't you just go up there and get him? You're a robot. You can climb that. There's literally a line at the beginning. I wish I had your body. I could climb my way up to the Sky City. Because he's a human and she's a robot. And I'm like, okay, so go do it. And they try.
Okay.
I'm saying a lot of things. I was like, I don't really get that, but I'm not gonna let that bother me. I'm still in it.
So you'd recommend it?
I would recommend, if you're into this kind of stuff, go for it. If you're on a date, don't watch it. Holly tried to watch it. She was not very interested. So, but a strong female character who's a robot, which is nice. And there's a lot of Sigourney Weaver alien kind of empowerment to it, which I dug.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just the typical like I am woman, hear me roar, and kind of like, remember that in the Avengers new movie where somehow in this chaotic battle at the end, all the women somehow end up being on the same cliff. Do you remember that scene?
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh man, I was like, what are the chances of this happening? And then they all look at the camera like, let's go. And I'm like, well, that would not happen. That would not happen. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you enjoy sci-fi, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, check it out.
All right, Sean, what you got?
Well, Chris, I was digging through some old DVDs of movies from days gone by and came across a classic favorite that I had to watch again. It's a 1982 film called The Sword and the Sorcerer, starring Lee Horsley. Now, if the name's not familiar to you, in the heyday of Magnum PI, you know how other channels will come up with their own versions?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they came up with Matt Houston, which is a TV series, and Lee Horsley played a rich Texas oil man who solved crime on the side. And apparently, between seasons of Matt Houston, they decided to make this sword and sorcery movie, and with calling it The Sword and the Sorcerer. Now it stars Lee Horsley, Kathleen Beller, who was Kirby from Dallas, little dinky girl.
Oh, Richard Lynch.
Richard Lynch playing the evil king. Yes. Simon McCorkindale, Manimal himself.
Richard Mole.
Richard Mole, who actually, that's why he was bald as Bull in Night Court. Mm-hmm. He had to shave his head to play the demon in Sword and the Sorcerer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He auditioned, it hadn't grown back yet, so he auditioned as a bald guy, and they made him the... This movie has it all. It has a sword, a tri-bladed sword where you can shoot off blades at a time. It's got demons. It's got frivolity. It's a lot of self-aware humor. It's just they had so much fun making it. And Lee Horsley plays such the hero that this hero actually is crucified and pulls himself off the cross.
Oh, wow.
The big scene where he's like, ah, and then his hand pulls his nailed hand. But they also knew when they were making it what it was and that where it would make its money, that they would actually film two different scenes. There was a lot of boobs, for instance, so they would shoot a scene with boobs and then shoot the same scene with boobs covered up. They shot the crucifixion scene where he's nailed to the cross, and then a crucifixion scene where he's just tied to it and rips the ropes off, because they knew that this would be the TV movie of the week for years to come.
Yeah.
And at the end, it was one of those movies where they promised Talon will return in this next movie, and that next movie never happened.
Now, is this a television movie?
No, this was a movie.
Oh, okay.
But today would be like a straight-to-streaming movie, but it picked up a lot of steam on the VHS market, which is where I first saw it. In fact, I saw the rated version of it with, boobs covered up and rope. And then later on, I caught it on VHS, the unrated version or the non-TV version. And it's just so much fun. It really is. You got to see Lee Horsley saying, "Okay, I got 3 months before I have to be back on my Matt Houston set. Let's have fun with this." And indeed, they did.
Cool.
Awesome.
So it's available to purchase. Can you stream it anywhere?
Well, I know you can get the DVD from Amazon because I got it, and I'm sure someone streaming somewhere has it's on disc at Amazon. It says
Yeah,
so
that's
you
what I'm
can get the
looking
DVD, but it's probably
Okay,
going to be like
cool.
you can get it for like
$30.
wow. I lucked out. I got it before it went so expensive.
You know what's weird about those style of movies is there was definitely a good decade, and everything was very similar in the production value, and they had like 10 versions of the same.
Oh yeah, this is a few
fantasy.
years after Hawk the Slayer and Willow.
Yeah,
and,
like to me that's really cool. I like these kind of movies, so I'll definitely check it out.
It's if you want to borrow my DVD, it's definitely worth the watch.
Okay. All right, Chris, what about you, dude?
I saw Long Shots.
Okay.
This is the Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen political comedy that came out last year. It's 81% on RT, and the plot is journalist Fred Flarsky reunites with his childhood crush, Charlotte Field, now one of the most influential women in the world. As she prepares to make a run for the presidency, Charlotte hires Fred as her speechwriter, and sparks fly. Rapid fire movie review. Richard Brody, The New Yorker. The movie's lack of political substance empties out the relationship at its center. Having little to work with and little to hold them together, the actors appear to be meeting each other for the first time in every scene. David Edelstein, New York Magazine. I generally like Rogen a lot, but this performance is bad. Worse than it even seems because of the drain it is on this movie. And Julia Swift from My Champlain Valley, whatever that is, I guess it's a magazine.
That's a legit place, man.
Somewhere. Does Seth Rogen ever read over what he writes? This feels like a quick first draft of a comedy film that needed a second read to make the story work. Add some layers and stronger jokes. All the voices sound the same and all like a tired Rogen. Okay, so
Did you watch this movie knowing these reviews?
I did not.
Okay.
No, I always get these after. But this movie, and I've been writing these down, so I remember everything to
Thank
say. But this
you.
movie is just under 2 hours, but it seems like a 4-hour movie. In no way is Seth Rogen believable as a leading man in a romantic comedy. At all. At all. We are led to believe that the most powerful woman in America would be with Seth Rogen. Like, even
I think that's the stick, isn't
even
it?
in real life, that's just not
Isn't that the
something that's
stick of the
realistic.
movie, though?
Well,
Yeah, but-
if Seth Rogen's playing Seth Rogen, there's nothing really redeeming about him.
Yeah.
He's funny. You know, he would make
Well,
you
that's
laugh.
that's
but
even debatable now at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, the movie has a good premise, but the pacing is really bad, and the jokes are very, very lazy. There's veiled slams against Fox News and against the current president, and it's lazy writing. The president in the movie is played by the great Bob Odenkirk. He's
Okay.
a great guy, great actor. But the premise of his presidency is he's a TV star who played a president on a show, and then he was elected to be
Again, lazy
president.
writing.
You know,
Yeah.
it's lazy writing, and he doesn't want to seek re-election because he wants to star in movies. So it's just
Nothing wrong with that.
It's lazy writing. It's political swipe. There's also a very preachy moment where Seth Rogen finds out that his best friend is Republican and that his best friend believes in God. And the hilarity or lack thereof ensues when Rogen can't fathom either of these two things. That his best friend, yeah, oh, it's ridiculous. They could have left that out. The one bright spot, I will say this, is the character who's the head of Fox News, or they don't call it Fox News, they call it Wembley News or whatever, is played by an unrecognizable Andy Serkis. Like, I didn't even know he was in this movie, but he has like prosthetics.
He's in
on-
Cats, too.
You can't. Is he really?
I have no idea.
If it's CGI,
You
he's
would
in
think
it
he would
somewhere.
I feel like cats are just anyone could be a cat.
Yeah, but it was a real treat to see Andy Serkis. I didn't even know it was him at first. I figured it out later, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But overall, this movie's boring. It has poor pacing, poor casting. I think Seth Rogen should stick to what he knows best, which honestly, I have no idea what that is. So, not good.
Oh, wait, no, he should just be casted in Judd Apatow movies. Apatow, because
Well, he was brilliant in The Disaster Artist.
so.
That I did not see. But he is not a leading man.
No,
I don't think he is. I think he just, like I said, he has to be.
Yeah, but not.
It has to be.
As a set, I can see him in Bill Murray roles.
What
kind
was
of
that movie
leading
where
man.
he was with the lady with his pregnant?
Knocked Up.
Oh, with Katherine
Now
Heigl.
that's okay.
Because that movie is all about settling.
No, if they remade, think
Well,
about it. If they
then he should
remade,
star in that for sure.
if they remade any Bill Murray movie,
The
he would fit
was
right
it
in.
The Thinnest Edge or whatever.
Stripes,
What's
the
the
Razor's
Razor's
Edge,
The Razor's
Yeah.
Edge. Be totally,
Stripes,
that movie.
Scrooged. I could see Seth Rogen playing
Oh
Scrooge.
no, I can't. That would be horrible. Don't you just gave them ideas and now it's probably going to happen. Oh boy, that scares me now. That when Scrooged, that scares me. I love that movie.
Oh yeah, of course. They're gonna jack with the classic.
Oh my goodness.
Well, thank you for the heads up. I will definitely avoid
Long shot.
Long shot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think
That's
probably
disappointing because, well, what's weird to me in that movie when they casted them, don't you immediately feel like there's an age gap between those two actors?
It didn't seem like it.
It didn't?
No.
No,
There's a huge looks gap. That was what was bothering me.
Well, that was the whole idea. I thought that was the stick. Like,
Well, it is. It's a big shtick.
I don't think he's that much younger than she is.
I have no idea. I'm just saying, from my mind, I was like, I thought she was a lot older because she's been around for quite some time.
Yeah, but she started young.
It seemed like because he did write this. I feel like he just wrote this so he could make out with a hot chick. I really do, and that's
I was
fair.
thinking
If
that.
that's what he did, great, good on him. He has the ability to do that.
So you're telling me Stephen King wanted to see these kids at the end of? I'm
Hey, he wrote
confused.
it.
I'm confused.
He wrote it.
I mean, okay, let me ask you this. We got a couple minutes left. So if we're sitting here trying to be moral police on what we can show on screen, but we don't criticize or ever apply the same factor to people who write stories.
Yeah, that is true. That's
like, isn't
very
that the
true.
same thing? If anything, it's worse.
Well,
because you're imagining.
Well, to
it.
me, you can, because Stephen King did have a substantial history with cocaine abuse.
So, so it's not his fault. The demons.
Well, I'm not saying it's demons, but I think you can read that and go, okay, that was the coke talk.
The it demon was in him going, write this.
Well, don't forget, the it demon was a big spider, and the earth is on the back
Write
of a
this.
giant turtle.
Well, yeah, but then,
there were
there's
drugs
some-
involved with the ending of that book.
Well, I think the whole book. It sounds like so. But that's just so strange.
Well,
to me.
it's. I think what it is you in a book you're not putting any physical person at risk when you're reading a page in a book. But if you put it in a movie and you want to have
It's
a
more
bunch of kids
abstract
do
in the
that
book.
kind of stuff, you are.
I mean,
you know,
at the end of the
there's
day, it's the same.
another person element to it there that I think those kids may be a little bit at risk. Where they wouldn't be.
Well, let's
just
look at it
not
like
exist
this.
in a
Well,
book.
let's look at it like this. That new movie, Seth Rogen movie coming out with all the little kids. They're basically super bad, but for kindergartners.
Oh, Good Boys?
Good Boys. Like they're allowed to do all these. Like he's making out with a sex doll. This fourth grader is.
Well, then you can thank those
So-
stage parents.
No, you know what I'm talking about? Like, how are they able to do that and no one. Like,
I mean, the only way I can think they could get away with that on like the movie version of it is like when they're kids, they hold hands and send love, and then when they're adults,
They
20
realize
years later,
what it
they
was.
realize we didn't go far enough, and have the adults do it. That's the only way I can see.
I was
them.
gonna go for the full blackout. Like they didn't really hold hands. They just blacked it out, you know.
Yeah.
And then they show a little flashback, like they insinuate, "Oh, this is really what they did."
See, when we were kids, we held hands and sent our love. Oops, sorry, I think I got the camera off
No,
you
you're
there.
good.
Oh, you're frozen, anyways.
It honestly, it probably would have ruined that movie if that happened.
Yeah, I remember reading the book
Yeah,
and
but
getting
that's like
kicked out by the
But
book.
that's like you're going to the movie, like, "Ooh, gross! That really happened." Yeah, did you not read the book? No. Okay, well then there you
a
go.
lot of people don't.
So, because that to me is a huge misstep. Like that. Oh, what happened at the end? Oh, they just held hands. What? Like they did not hold hands in that book. Like to me, that's a huge difference.
Mhm.
And that's, I'm telling you, if you want to be hot, if you want to be artsy, you gotta do artsy.
Well, that's why I
stuff.
think it took him so long to do it because that would be considered unfilmable. You know, if you
Really?
have a child.
I don't think.
orgy
I'm not
scene.
saying film it. I'm just saying you can still be. It's part
Or,
of
like,
the plot
Pan the camera away to a fireplace.
or whatever. Like you can be creative with it. I mean, there's a reason you wrote it. Do you think-
Yeah, he was coked up.
So you're saying if you went back in time to coked up, Stephen King and be like, hey, just write them holding hands, you think he'd be like, that's a good idea?
No, not holding hands, but I think you got to come up something that's somewhere between holding hands and kids boinking each other.
Yeah.
10-year-olds,
Almost made the kids older.
13-year-olds.
Is that more questionable?
Well, they could have Roman Polanski film that one.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'm telling you, it's a slippery slope with these people and these artsy fartsy people.
You betcha.
So, okay. Well, I that's so weird to me. They could change it that much. I guess that's kind of similar to a lot of Stephen King's works. They change up little details that when you read the book, you're like, oh man. Because that was one thing I didn't realize about The Shining. I did not know that was a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, The Shining is about.
I know.
The
I had no
Shining
idea. When
is
I
the
watched the
kid's
Steven Kubrick, I thought it was just a horror
telepathy.
film, and he just goes crazy. But then when they remade, they're not remake, they're doing the continuation. I was like, what is going on? So I started reading more about The Shining, and I was like, oh, that's actually a cool plot.
Well, try to watch the ABC miniseries because it was very faithful. There's no axe. It's a giant croquet mallet. There's not a mace. It's the hedge animals come to life. And The Shining is the kid's actual ability to,
Detect
have
the
these,
evil, right?
Yeah, super preternatural powers. So I've got nothing against the Kubrick film, but I think he should have just changed the title because he took it far enough away.
That's what I'm saying. To me, that was a drastic change.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, well, I guess someone will do it better next time. But good. Okay.
You can take us out.
Yeah. Well, tell us the theater at the Grand Theater here in Conroe.
Yes.
What's coming up? Is there anything big coming out? Is there Fathom events?
Yeah,
or?
we've got on the. Let me look it up really quick.
Because while he looks it up, I do want to remind every listener has a chance to win 2 tickets to the Grand. All you have to do is contact us via social media and just give us your name, and you'll be entered into the weekly drawing, which will contact you, and your name will be re-entered. So every time you just have to do it once, and you have a chance to win 2 tickets to the Grand Theater and also Amstar Theater anywhere, wherever their Amstar and Grand is.
Have I hosed myself out of this opportunity for being a guest on
No,
the show?
no.
Okay.
You're good. But yeah, so again, if you want to win, just contact us via social media. I think we're on Twitter. We have the Tickets Up Podcast at gmail.com. We have our Facebook. You have to message us. It can't be a comment. They have to direct message us because we need to know your full name and stuff so we can actually send you the tickets. So don't just comment on the video right now. That doesn't count because it's hard to track all that stuff. Yeah, so we're okay. So what's going on?
All right, August 17th, we've got a promotion going on for the movie Angry Birds 2.
They actually made a second one?
They did make a second one. Yeah, we're going to have some fun and crafts for the kids that day. And
I can't wait for the Emoji Movie, too, so I can wear
There
the
you
poop
go.
outfit again.
Yeah.
I really want that poop outfit. Do y'all still have it?
I don't think we do because I did look for it
Thank
because,
you.
know,
You know me.
now that I use a lot of costumes randomly, I look for those.
And the poop. Man, I can't believe
could
that's a
not
real
find
deal.
it.
Did we tell
Go
you
to
about that?
Danny's Kicks
Did
and
we tell
Tricks.
you about that?
About the poop?
So no, when Emoji Movie came out, the Grand Theater was having like cool kids, like bring your kids and you can interact and do stuff. And we were there doing a show, weren't we? Yeah, we were recording a show, and you had one of your employees wear the poop emoji, like full out poop emoji. And I'm like, I can't believe they actually spent money on this. It's
Well,
great.
you can get it at your local boutique or Danny's Kicks and Tricks.
The poop emoji. That's okay. That's great.
Halloween
It's the
right around the
emoji.
corner.
It's the emoji.
Yeah.
Not actual poop.
Yeah. Boy, is my face red.
But yeah, thank you, Sean. Sean, where can people find you? I know you
Yes.
do writing, you do PR, you do all that kind of creative content. Where is it? Tell me about
Yeah,
it.
you can scope me out on Facebook under Sean Keith Thompson, or if you want to hire me to do anything creative for you, go to c3thewoodlands.com or c3memories.com.
Okay, and then just to remind folks, hopefully Connor comes back for next week.
I will not
So
be here next
Chris
week.
will not be here next
Yeah.
week. We'll kind of do an announcement on our Facebook and social media, like if we're going to have a live show or not. If not, don't forget you can subscribe to our podcast, which you can find all of our shows. I think today was episode 107, so we're
107.
pumping them out. Tell us what you think of the movies we reviewed. If you saw them, just let us know how you felt about it, especially Alita Battle Angel. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what's the point of this rollerball thing, guys. But yeah, so thank you for tuning in. Special thanks to the Grand and Amstar for sponsoring today's show and providing those 2 free tickets that you can win. And we will check you out later. This is the Tickets Up signing off.